This video is going to be a guide that honestly I wish my younger self had, that is going to teach you exactly how it is that you can eliminate probably one of the single most dangerous habits out there, doom scrolling. Honestly, doom scrolling is probably the single worst habit out there because it is destroying everything in life that you need to make you successful. Destroying your productivity, destroying your mental health, destroying your attention span, all of the things crucial to attaining your goals, right? You can't achieve your goals if you're constantly spending your time and your days scrolling on your bed, right? You can't achieve anything in life unless you get rid of this addiction. So once you stop scrolling, once you are able to overcome doom scrolling, your life will change drastically. You'll become more productive, you'll be more motivated, you'll be able to work harder, your grades will improve, your mental health will improve, and you will overall become a much happier person because you've stopped scrolling. So there are basically 3 things you can do to basically destroy doom scrolling. So let's get into it. So if you don't know me, my name is Sasha, and I basically help young men like me with their self-improvement journey through the lessons I've learned from my own journey, as well as just from general knowledge that I've gained from books, podcasts, and experiences. The counter thesis of doom scrolling, which is meditation. Meditation just annihilates doom scrolling because meditation is the complete opposite, the complete polar opposite of meditation, of doom scrolling in terms of what it does to your brain. So you can think of it this way: when you're scrolling, your brain is hyperactive, right? It's latching onto pieces of information super fast, right? You're going from one short to another, or whether it be Reels or TikTok, whatever you use. But basically you're dispersing your attention super fast, right? You're telling your brain to hold its attention onto one thing for only short periods of time, while meditation is the act of focusing your attention, right? Telling your brain to focus its attention on one thing for long periods of time. When you're scrolling, you're basically just destroying your attention span because you're telling your brain to focus on one piece of content, and then as soon as your brain isn't getting enough dopamine, you go on to the next and the next and the next. This just creates a whole cycle of more need, more want for dopamine, until it results in your attention span lowering to the point where you basically need to scroll more in order to feel satisfied. At one point, my attention span was so bad that I had to play video games while watching YouTube. I needed to play Brawl Stars on my phone while watching YouTube on my computer in order to feel any stimulation. And this is not the way to go about things if you want to achieve your goals. When your attention span is that bad, all of the things in life that you once enjoyed, connections with your friends and being able to go outside for a walk, slowly start to dissipate because you become such a short attention span, dopamine hungry, stimulation hungry like goblin that you can't enjoy anything in life unless you're super stimulated. And so meditation just helps to counteract all of this because you develop mindfulness, and mindfulness is simply awareness of the present moment, right? And when you become aware of the present moment, when you become able to live in the present moment without any stimulation, and when you're able to lengthen your attention span through meditation, you will stop doom scrolling. Because basically long scrolling sessions just start as a result of you giving into an impulse, right? But you can stop the process of doom scrolling at the very beginning, right? You can nip the seed in the bud by overcoming that craving through meditation. Because when you focus on the breath, and then you lose focus of the breath, that's an opportunity to become mindful, right? Losing focus of the breath when you're meditating isn't the end of the world. When you're meditating, the goal isn't to clear your mind completely. The goal is to lose focus of the breath and then notice that you've lost focus of the breath and then come back to it. That's how meditation is built. Losing focus and regaining focus is what meditation is all about. And so this translates into you being a more mindful, not motivation hungry person, right? I meditate at least 20 minutes a day, and when I was meditating a lot, I was meditating for 80 minutes a day. That is a lot, right? And when you meditate that much, you start to not even want to doom scroll. You start to not even crave super fast, tension destroying entertainment, right? Because your brain isn't used to that sort of entertainment anymore. When your brain is in this calm wavelengths and it's in this habitual state of being able to focus on something for long periods of time, you start to simply not want to scroll anymore, because that's just not who you are. Which brings us on to the next thing. But before that, I have a newsletter below if you want to join that. Basically, shortened videos. It's like my videos, but in email format, basically like article format, right? And you can basically have that daily. You can read those daily. So I think that'd be a great source of knowledge if you want to make more progress. And the next thing I want to talk about is your identity, because when you start to meditate more, you start to identify as someone that doesn't want to doom scroll, that has a long attention span. And so in order to overcome doom scrolling, you not only need to build a long attention span, but then to see yourself as somebody who has a long attention span, who doesn't constantly need to be stimulated, and who is not a scroller, right? You need to get rid of that identity of a dopamine hungry goblin if you really want to let go of this addiction. And the reason you see yourself as a scroller is because you are. And so that's why you need to build evidence that you aren't a scroller, that you're somebody who has a long attention span, who's super productive, in order for you to really let go of this bad habit. Because you'll never let go of scrolling. See yourself as somebody who scrolls. If you pair your self-image and who you are with the bad habit of scrolling, you'll never let go of that habit. It's only when you're able to break that connection by building evidence that, hey, I'm not a doom scroller, right? I do meditation, I do the next thing that I'm going to talk about, and I'm not dopamine hungry, right? It's when you build evidence that it's when you're able to switch your self-image by telling yourself you aren't somebody who scrolls a lot, that you really let go of this habit. Your brain is basically like a cassette tape, right? And it basically just feeds, and what you tell your brain is what your brain will feed back to you. So if you're constantly in this mode of I'm such a bad person for scrolling so much, and I've scrolled so much, that's such a bad thing. When you cut that out, and when you start telling yourself you don't need scrolling is for losers and I'm not a loser, right? That is really when things will start to change. It's when you tell yourself you are who you say you are, until you can show yourself you say you are, that you really beat this addiction. You essentially just want to do affirmations telling yourself that you aren't somebody who scrolls, until those affirmations translate to actions, and those actions basically translate to evidence, right? And that will help you break free from this addiction. So that is 2 things covered so far. We have 1 more to go, with that being switching from short form content to long form content. Been able to let go of scrolling a lot by switching to long form content, and it once again goes back to you developing a longer attention span will lead to you not wanting to scroll, and watching long form content will lead to you getting a longer attention span. So right now you're probably freaked out. You're probably like, oh no, I couldn't ever possibly watch a 2-hour long unedited podcast, right? I could never do that. But you can. You simply have to take it like the gym, right? When you're starting at the gym, you're not going to bench 225 immediately, right? You're not going to watch a 2-hour long podcast immediately. What you're going to do is you're going to progressively deload the amount of scrolling that you do, and then progressively overload the amount of long form podcasts, just unedited videos that you watch. So videos like these are good because right now I'm 11 minutes in. There have been edits, right, to keep you watching, because I don't want you to go away, right? But basically the video isn't over edited, right? I'm not destroying your attention span. I'm not frying your brain cells. And that's the point that you want to get at. You want to get to the point where you're watching this type of content along with podcasts, and you do so by going from by telling yourself that in 1 month you no longer want to be scrolling no more, and you're going to do this by progressively deloading. So right now you might want to check your phone screen time thing, and that'll show you how much time you spend on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And then if that thing's 5 hours, then you can make it a goal to have 4 hours be your average next week, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1, until you're basically just not scrolling anymore. And then while you're progressively deloading the bad habits, the scrolling, you're going to progressively overload its counter thesis along with meditation, which is long form podcast. And so you might want to start with watching more videos like these, right? And just when you know that you're about to start scrolling, have the awareness to switch over to long form content. And then as you do that more and more, you can start watching more long form unedited podcasts, and that'll lead to just you not wanting to watch shorts anymore. So now that you are equipped with the tools to overcome scrolling, it is time to take action, right? You need to take action on what I've just said. You need to start progressively overloading how much meditation and long form podcast watching you do, and progressively deloading how much short form content you do. As you do all of these, those actions of doing more meditation and watching more podcasts will lead to proof that you aren't a scroller, which will lead to you building the identity of someone who's overcome doom scrolling. So I hope this helped you, and I cannot wait to see the progress that you make. Love you, bro.